Hello, people. Here we are with the paradoxical intro. I think it's going to be long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. There is a little background in this. There's a playlist if you want to find out what happened before this, but we will go over a lot of that in this video, so if you missed them, it's okay. An indeterminate time ago, in a parallel land, a vampire was somehow transported from his home world and was obsessed with getting back there. He spent most of his life trying to find a way back. The result of his experiment nearly destroyed their world, which was later renamed Ashshore after the ashes that were left on the shores of the river that connected the lands. The vampire's granddaughter Bee and her husband Remy dedicated their lives to finding out what he had done and the consequences. After years of research, they rebuilt a stable version of the temporal portal and went through to find answers. They found themselves in the world Bee's grandfather had been trying to get back to and discovered that the cataclysm he had caused affected the Sims here too. In a land previously ruled by vampires, there was only one left. Later, they created a portable portal. They found themselves in a strange land where there was a huge crater and terrifying clouds in the sky. They found a gigantic carnivorous plant inside a secret lab within the crater. After they defeated the plant, Bee was abducted by aliens. They meant to abduct her husband Remy, who is an alien in disguise, but got her instead. While the aliens had Bee, they told her that the cataclysm that her grandfather caused resulted in an alien ship that was carrying the mother plant for study to crash. She was warned it would regenerate. What she learned next would change everything. The swirling clouds above the crater were the result of the mother plant trying to get help. The outcome was a temporary massive increase in the tear between worlds. When she asked about Ashshore, they replied that Ashshore and Stratus Burn were at the nexus of the original tear and could be affected more strongly, but they did not know in what way. Bee and Remy rushed back to the temporary portal to check on Ashshore. When they arrived, it was to learn they were too late. Several families had just disappeared, but Bee promised them she would find the Sims and bring them back. They went through the portal to Stratus Burn. They found the missing Sims, but due to the time difference, they were already settled into their new homes. Bee reassured them that their families were fine, then left. It wasn't just Sims that had arrived in Stratus Burn. There was a city and docks and houses, all where there were none before. The matchmaker told the king that she'd sensed the vampiress again, and she's sure they are related. As Bee and Remy exited the portal from Stratus Burn, Bee fainted. Remy had to break the news that it just wasn't safe for a regular Sim to try going through the portal if it would make a vampire this ill. With time, the Sims from Ashshore settled in their new homes in Stratus Burn. Nothing else new appeared, and everyone was lulled into a false sense of security, until the mother plant regenerated. Eric Dresden tried repeatedly to contact the aliens for answers. They dodged his questions and acted like they had no idea what was going on. They abducted him several times. What happened there was always a bit foggy in his mind. A friend from the lab, Pascal Curious, stopped by to tell Eric he is alien pregnant. He gave birth to an adorable little blue baby, but he was still determined to find a way to cure the Sims and defeat the mother plant. It took time, but he finally managed it. He left his son with his friend Celadon's nanny. He and his fellow scientists went deep underground to defeat the plant. While they were gone, Eric's son Xylar was taken. What should have been a celebration of a job well done ended in disaster. Eric and his friend Carolina, who had recently asked to move in with him, ran to Celadon's house in search of help. A few days prior to this, while staying late at work, Celadon found a hidden basement room and decided to investigate. Inside what looked like a bomb-proof case, he found schematics for something called a dimensional shifter. He'd built the shifter with a few tweaks and was excited to try to use it to find Eric's missing son. Meanwhile, in an alien realm where human Sims are kept to be breeders, Laszlo Curious is given a little boy named Zylar to care for. He was told Zylar's family was gone. During a birthday party for one of Laszlo's many children, there was a tear in space. The family found themselves transported away from the alien realm. Eric was thrilled to have his son back. They aren't sure if there will be consequences from Laszlo spilling the youth potion on the portal. I guess time will tell. The Xenophilia family found their old place was still there after all the years they lived in the alien realm, but the neighborhood around it was unrecognizable. Eric's place was definitely not there anymore. Where the town of Strangerville used to be was a wasteland, like another world. Literally. They got out of there quickly. Back at the lab, Celadon was trying to repair the machine when he realized he wasn't alone. There was a couple there where there wasn't anyone before. The girl looked at him sternly and asked, "What did you do?" Celadon excitedly told them all about what he had done. Shocked, Remy asked, "Are you effing kidding me?" Bee and Remy started talking quickly, trying to think of what the consequences might be this time. When Celadon laughed, saying there wouldn't be any consequences, Bee told him about the last few times something like this happened. Things might seem fine to you down here, but it's going to be a different story up there. Then, Bee had enough of arguing with him. Time to find out exactly what happened this time around. Celadon pulling the family from the alien realm caused a multiverse convergence and dimensional instability. Whew, glad I got that off my chest. Meanwhile, after being notified that their local area had changed yet again, the king sent his Dampiers out to investigate further. Cassiel sensed vampires nearby for the first time in many years. Among them was the vampiress she'd sensed before. As Remy and Bee were leaving the scientist's house, they noticed someone across the bridge. This was as good a time as any to start investigating the consequences of the scientist's actions. The Dampiers were sent by their king to find Bee. This worried her even more than she already was. They tell the king and Cassiel about what the scientists had done, and then the even more upsetting tale of what her grandfather did first. More and more Dampiers started reporting back. It was worse than any of them had thought. Despite the startling news, the king was happy. Not only was he not the only vampire, but he'd found his great niece. He feels terrible about what his brother wrought, but the joy in his heart makes the pain of his loss bearable. But you're probably wondering what the Dampiers reported back. In all the neighborhoods, most of the houses were replaced with new ones with people living in them. Some Sims found themselves living in the same lots, but in completely different houses. Some Sims found themselves living in the same houses, but in completely different neighborhoods. Some Sims were missing entirely, and Sims that didn't have houses were given the empty ones where the missing Sims previously lived. Eric was given one such house. After arriving, he realized they were next door to the people that were given Zylar. How strange, completely unplanned coincidence. The people protested, beseeching anyone who would listen to try to find the missing Sims. There was confusion. There was chaos. Nobody could explain to them what happened. There was no one to help them deal with their confusion. The Sims experience temporal paradoxes where events from different timelines intersected, creating logical inconsistencies. Things were strange. There were graveyards full of memorials to those that were lost, but Sims that were lost to some were there again, a little bit different. It was very confusing for their families. Old friends were gone, but replaced by new faces that after time Sims were sure that this one was their friend all along. Some Sims that were dead just weren't anymore. Some Sims that had died found a new lease on life, able to aid their families from the grave or return to them once more. It was a very confusing time. Some Sims had never seen infants, let alone toddlers, before. Many of them had never even seen a pet before. Most had at least heard of aliens, but all other occults were a shock to see. And don't get me started on the reactions to weather. Then a time loop snapped into place, and the Sims took comfort in repeating the same actions day after day. Soon, the unfamiliar became familiar, leaving their old lives barely a memory. Laszlo spilling the youth potion on the temporal transporter resulted in an aging anomaly wherein they only age when aware of reality. This gives them a glance of reality outside the time loop. Some things can snap them out of the time loop, such as pregnancies, someone they know having a birthday, or even a person talking to them they didn't know before, although that's rare. Interacting with Sims who are inside a time loop causes a reality distortion, changing their existing one. A ripple effect leaves that whole family aware of reality, creating a new branch of reality while the old branch disappears. Because of this, Sims are warned not to wake the sleepwalkers without cause. Everyone knows about the time loop, but none of them are aware that they are within it until they're not. Quite the paradox, isn't it?